Hello and welcome, I'm your host Elizibar, and we're going to talk about these two comic books. We're going to do a double review. Double. That's two reviews for one time slot, or the price of one, although you're not paying anything to watch this, so free. You're getting double the free stuff. How cool is that? These books are a little hard for me to review because I like the people involved, Brett, Matt, and boy, I'm afraid that, I'm going to say some things that are going to make them mad at me. Now, these two books are both set in the same universe as Adobe Kroger, and I think that's where some of my problems come from. Is I read this, and this is amazing. Let me just flip this open to this page right here. Look at this detail in the cityscape. Look at that good use of mood, the silhouetting, the light. It looks great, doesn't it? Look at the action from her motion, all the shattered glass. It's a very cool, very serious looking action story. Neither of these are very serious action stories. So tonally, right away, we're kind of veering off. So if you open up, before I open it up, this is a story about a young lady who is discovering that her life isn't what she thought it was. She's not who she thought she was. You can kind of see that, like her self-image is shattering and fractured here on the cover. And this is just a story like some cool magic stuff. See, cool magic stuff. It's right there. So we're going to look at Changeling first. The art style in here is about as far away from the art style in Adobe Kroger as you can possibly get. And while the art style is very manga influenced, it's also, come on, right there. Big eyes, small mouth, right? While it's got that influence to it, it's got that look to it. It's very loosely drawn, and it's not serious looking. I guess is like the complaint I can make here. It's not serious looking, and it probably shouldn't be. This is like a young adult coming of age type story where she's getting pulled into the Fey world, and her life. Well, she's got problems. She has problems dealing with people. Like she just bumps into this kid right here. See him? And she's just like and has to retreat, has to run away. That's not a way to live. Honestly, I kind of want a story about her mom. Yeah, her name's Maeve, by the way. I kind of want a story about Maeve's mom here, and have just like her perspective of these events, where she just has to like deal with the insanity that is her daughter's like crazy life, her lackadaisical husband's life, whatever like else happens, just dealing with the stress by drinking coffee. Like clearly, the coffee gives her solace. I think that'd be a funny story to make. But Maeve very quickly. Oh, hold on. One thing that this did is it did remind me of a webcomic called Candy. Her and the cats are just like that character, Candy and her ferrets. There's definitely like love and cuteness and sweetness and fun going on there, which I appreciated. That gives her something interesting to build on. And about half of this book, and it's kind of a thick book, it feels like, is spent in this like setup stuff, and then we're just suddenly thrust into craziness where she just is being threatened by a giant blue lizard bird man dino thing with a knife. Wow, that was sudden. That was pretty sudden, wasn't it? Like we're just like da 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 da, knife right there. She stopped to like save this cat. The cat started talking to her. Everything gets weird from here, and this is where she figures out exactly that she's not really a normal human, and her life shatters apart. So the cat turns out to not be exactly what it seems. There's a character in here that is familiar with like this crazy Fey world, and is going to kind of probably be the mentor through it. Honestly, this just really here, this stuff here, maybe want to go read Sparrowhawk again. That came out, Boom published it year and a half ago, something like that. And that was a pretty cool story along vaguely similar lines. It wasn't somebody discovering that they're not exactly human, but it was a human thrust into the horrifying Fey world and having to fight her way out. Probably we're not going to go down that same path, but that's kind of what this made me want to go like check out. Also, kind of makes me want to go watch Labyrinth. That's kind of a bad thing in your story. If your story makes somebody, if it reminds them of a really great thing, you're going to end up being compared mentally disfavorably to that really great thing. So I'm already kind of right off the bat to the book. And I think the thing that really kind of gets me about this feels like this should be a web comic, not a print comic. This feels like this needs to be published on the web, say 3 times a week, do a full page 3 times a week, let people consume the content that way. The periodicity of it, I think, would really help this. Instead of me sitting down and binging this and then having to wait however many months, just getting drip fed like one of these pages a week would be pretty cool. I think that would be a very solid way to approach this story, as opposed to how it's being done here. Not that there's anything wrong with publishing that. Like, you would eventually want to get a cool collected edition. Like, I've got a collected edition of Exploitation Now, for example. It's a little hardback somewhere. I don't actually know where it is. It's probably down in my basement with most of my other books. So that's Changeling. It's an interesting story. I'm not sure this is the right format to put it in. The pacing, we get a lot of preface material, and then we finally get to something like crazy happening. The parts in the preface where she's just talking about her problems and she's unable to articulate them are kind of frustrating to read through. So it made it a little bit of a tough road to go down. Mythics, on the other hand, basically throws us into some action right away, kind of like Adobe Kroger does, but it's different action, and it doesn't last very long. So you got some witches, there's sacrificing a changeling in the woods, and you got Elfia here, who's just wearing a t-shirt and gym shorts and sneakers, coming to break up their party. And this page, this two-page layout, is my favorite thing in the whole book. It's moody. This conveys like the magic. Look at the cool green here. Look at the red for the menace as they're getting ready to go like have a throwdown with her. And then you got like this stuff here, this weird twisty punch to the back of the head thing. It's pretty good. This is a well constructed 2 pages. The darkness, which is pretty easy to draw. It's just black. You just flood fill. Works really well here. Sadly, that same technique of like the solid background colors really doesn't work when they start showing up elsewhere in the book. Over here you've got like mud brown carpet. You got pink beige wall. Like, these backgrounds don't do a whole lot for me. And maybe that's just me, maybe not, I don't know. Now, I guess I can understand, like, the character lines themselves are not too ornately complicated. Like, the character designs are fairly straightforward, so maybe you don't want a busy background. But I read a comic book series a year or 2 years ago, Gun Cats, and the thing that really kept bugging me about that was the backgrounds, because they were boring. Even a slight texture back here would really help. But the only texture in this comes from the paper grain itself. Like, if you look over here, you can see the artist is clearly familiar. Yeah, I can't even English. Is clearly familiar with like putting a little bit of like detail-y, mushy stuff in the background. So, having a coffee stain on the carpet or something like that, just to kind of make it a little more interesting to look at in the background without pulling your eye away, would go a long way towards making it pop. Because as it is, some of this art is kind of lackluster to look at. Some of it's kind of cool. I really like the lighting effect on this right here. But then we come back over here, and that's about as boring looking as it can get. And it may also just be like straight up the choice of the camera angles, the perspective that the picture is being drawn from, is not necessarily always the most exciting. The actual material, kind of what's going on, is kind of interesting. Like, I can kind of get down with like a weird murder mystery magic whodunit kind of thing. Like, that sounds kind of fun, doesn't it? Like, yeah, it's a magical mystery whodunit story. Whoa, that sounds pretty cool. But the art needs to really carry that tone, that mood, to really let people know that, yeah, this is a magical murder mystery story or whatever, And it's not doing that. My other thought with all this, and I don't know if I've really kind of emphasized this, is they've done a great job, like, putting the content from all three of these different stories, kind of mixing it up so that there are similar themes in them, even though they're very different takes, very different art styles, very different approaches to the different, like, secret world, Fey world kind of stuff. Just the fact that they're putting changelings and the paladins, like the whole magic stuff into here. You know, this book kind of ties the other two together into the same world. It's very effective. Oh, I don't think I mentioned it. The writing in Mythics, there's a couple of places in there where it's actually really fun. There's also some places where it's just kind of like I can't tell exactly what's going on here, and the parts with the paladins talking to each other kind of drag. But Elfia, she cracks a joke somewhere towards the back of the book because they've got the changeling baby that was going to be sacrificed, and she cracks this joke about remind me to get my mom like something extra for Mother's Day, you know, because she just realized how much of a handful little ones can be. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and I would have uploaded this for tomorrow, but the Kickstarter is ending imminently, and so I should have done this review yesterday, I guess. So my bad there. As of this time, this point in time, they have 2 hours to go, and they're a bit shy of their goal. I hope they make it. I hope they make it. I don't know if I'm going to back this. I kind of would have backed like another, get all three, because then I would have been sure that I'm going to be like, yeah, Adobe Kroger was like super dope, and I can kind of justify the shipping cost. But shipping is such a killer, man. Shipping is absolutely such a killer. Oh. One last thing. The bottom of all the Mythics pages have this white band on them, and it really draws my eye down there. My eye shouldn't go down there. I don't know if mine was just printed badly or if they're all like that, but that was like the first thing I noticed when I was looking at the book is that stupid white line. Anyway, you all have a great day, great night, great whatever you got going on. I hope none of the people involved in these books are mad at me for saying the things that I said. I'm just being honest with you, you know? I'm just telling you how I feel, telling everybody how I feel, because that's what YouTube is for, right? Bye bye.